Heartwarming miracle. Millionaire discovers little girl's hidden struggles after stealing a spook toy. Charlie Hawkins, a 45-year-old millionaire, stood at the glare of his office window in the skyline, his reflection staring back at him with a hollowness he couldn't shake. The lavish cars in his driveway couldn't warm the chilling void within him. Life had become a series of endless board meetings, ribbon cuttings, and hollow congratulations. Wealth surrounded him like a gilded cage, yet he felt trapped in silence, yearning for genuine connection. Loneliness seeped into his bones like a dreary rain cloud point one rainy afternoon. Seeking escape from his self-imposed isolation, Charlie found himself walking through the door of a cozy diner, his thoughts heavy like a storm. Inside, the vibrant atmosphere was alive with the clamor of laughter, clinking silverware, and the aroma of fresh coffee hanging thick in the air. It was a world away from his cold, pristine reality. As he sank into a red vinyl booth, he could almost hear echoes of his childhood family meals, warm smiles, the comfort of home. Amidst the bustling scene, a 10-year-old girl named Mia sat at a nearby table, her worn-out backpack and big, hopeful eyes telling a tale of her own. She clutched a colorful spook toy, trading its textured surface for a small measure of relief from the bullying at school, dreaming of becoming an artist while silently bearing the weight of her family's struggles. As fate would have it, Charlie's distracted hand brushed against the spook toy, inadvertently snatching it as he reached for the menu. At that moment, he had no idea of the little girl's life: a crumbling apartment, eviction notices looming over her single mother, Sarah. Yet, as he lingered over his menu, a sense of guilt bloomed in his chest when he noticed the toy nestled in his bag. Realization dawned. He had unknowingly robbed Mia of a piece of her joy. That moment ignited a spark within him, a burning desire to make things right. He gathered himself, pushing aside his unease, and headed towards Mia and Sarah's modest home. Her home was a stark contrast to Charlie's lavish lifestyle, the peeling paint and worn doormat a testament to their daily battle. As he stood at the door, the weight of his decision pressed heavily on his heart. The vulnerable bond they might share simmered in the back of his mind, and he took a deep breath. They needed more than just his apology. They needed hope. Knocking on the door, he met Mia's curious gaze. In that moment, an unseen connection sparked a blend of honesty and weariness. They spoke, each revelation weaving them closer. Mia shared her dreams and fears while Sarah's exhaustion echoed through her words, revealing the sacrifices she made for her daughter. Just as a smile lit up the exchange, a stark reminder struck: a knock on the door, the eviction notice, reality crashing in with a thud. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Charlie's thoughts swirled, engulfed in the very essence of their struggles. It was a collision of privilege and hardship, and the urgent question echoed within him: would he retreat back to his gilded cage, or could he transform this moment of connection into something meaningful? The warmth of the diner's laughter faded as he stepped away from his comfortable life, standing at a crossroads, filled with both anxiety and hope. Standing on the threshold of Mia and Sarah's home, Charlie felt a ripple of uncertainty weave through his resolve. Each knock resonated like a heartbeat, pounding a rhythm of hope and fear. What if they rejected him? What if his wealth, flashing like a neon sign, overshadowed the kindness he wanted to offer? But as he gazed into Mia's innocent, eager eyes, he found the courage to step into their world. Mia's smile, bright yet small, encouraged him. "Are you here to bring back my spook?" she asked, her head tilting to one side, brows furrowing in curiosity. Charlie nodded, kneeling to her level, the weight of the toy in his pocket framing his apology. "Yes, I'm so sorry I took it. I didn't mean to. I just saw it and I thought maybe you were a thief," she interjected, her cheeks gleefully flushing with mischief. Sarah, standing behind Mia, placed a hand on her shoulder. "What brings you here, Mr. Hawkins?" A hint of wariness colored her tone. She looked attentive but guarded, like a lioness ready to defend her cub. You didn't come just to return a toy? Charlie glanced up. You're right. I want to help. I help doesn't come from a stranger, Sarah cut in, cutting through the air with a subtle fierceness. We've learned that the hard way. Charlie's chest tightened. He wanted to argue, to promise he was different. But nothing he said would erase the stigma of wealth that often saw him as just another faceless benefactor. I just want to understand, and he hesitated, maybe there's something I can do to help you. A silence settled like dust in the fading light. Mia looked between the two adults, sensing the tension crackling in the small space. Can you help me with my art supplies? She suddenly piped up, her voice brightening the mood. I want to paint. Sarah's gaze softened, but the worry was still etched in her features. Mia, remember our talk. We can't afford things like that right now. Charlie's heart sunk. He saw in Mia's eyes the flicker of a dream overshadowed by the reality of their circumstances. I could sponsor her art class, he offered, his words tumbling out with a mix of urgency and sincerity. I mean, if it's okay with you. Sarah's eyes widened, conflict brewing within her. Mr. Hawkins, charity doesn't help. It creates dependence. Dependence? He repeated, feeling the sting in her word. No, I just want to help her envision a better future. Isn't that worth something? The gravity of his proposal loomed between them, stirring emotions locked away. Mia perched herself on the couch like an anxious bird, wrestling with the idea. You really think I'm good enough to do art classes? Absolutely, Charlie said, beaming. You have talent. I can see it. You're already making your dreams real with that spook toy. A flicker of excitement sparked in Mia's eyes. Sarah, still torn between pride and practicality, opened her mouth, but Charlie added, and if it doesn't work out, no strings attached. Promise? Mia whispered, her hope hanging delicately in the air. Charlie nodded, sealing the moment with sincerity. Here was a chance to change not just Mia's life but perhaps his own, a mirror to his lonely existence where he could finally get out of his head and into the lives of others. In that echoing silence, as dreams seemed to dance on the edge of reality, another knock echoed through the house. It startled everyone, breaking the moment. Sarah's face paled instantly, her expression morphing to fear. Oh no, not them again, what's wrong? Charlie asked, anxiety creeping up his spine. Mia's small hand gripped her mother's, leaving Charlie wondering what shadows loomed behind their door that threatened to dismantle this budding connection. He steeled himself, ready to protect them, ready to confront whatever lay on the other side. As Charlie straightened up, every muscle in his body tensed, anticipating what lurked beyond the door. The knock came again, loud and demanding. This time, Sarah turned to Mia, her expression sharp. Stay back, sweetheart, she instructed, her voice steady but low. Mia hid behind her mother's legs, peeking out with wide, innocent eyes that flickered between fear and curiosity. Charlie's heart sank at the sight. He wanted to be a protector, not just a stranger in an unfamiliar place. Who is it? He asked, his voice steady, though inside he felt a storm brewing. Just some people I hope to keep away, Sarah replied, a nervous edge in her tone. The knock sounded again, impatient now, and Charlie stepped closer to the door. I can handle this, he assured her, though doubt twisted at his insides. He didn't know what stood on the other side, but he was ready to face it. Don't! Sarah hissed, her eyes wide, pleading with him. There was a depth of fear in them that Charlie hadn't seen before, and he felt a surge of determination. He couldn't just stand by and let this family face whatever threat they were about to encounter. With a firm grip, he reached for the doorknob. The moment he pulled it open, he was met by two figures, men who looked out of place in their tattered clothing, their faces shadowed under caps pulled low. They leaned against the door frame like a pair of wolves eyeing prey, and Charlie immediately sensed danger. Hey, Sarah. We need to talk, one of them said, his voice low but clipped. You owe us, and we're here to collect. The words hung thick in the air. Charlie took a step forward, the air heavy with tension. Whatever this is, I think it's better if we handle it outside. For Mia's sake. He tried to sound firm, hopeful that stepping in would ease the situation. Who the hell are you? The second man sneered, a cruel smile stretching across his lips as he scanned Charlie from head to toe. Some charity case? The insult burned, and Charlie felt his temper flaring but restrained himself. He wasn't here to get into a fight. He was here to protect Mia and Sarah. I'm a friend, he said pointedly. And I think you should leave. The tension crackled like a wire on the verge of snapping. Sarah's shoulders were tense as she gripped Mia's hand, her breath shallow and quick. The men exchanged glances, their amusement fading into incredulity. You're going to regret sticking your nose in this, rich guy, the first man shot back, his voice full of contempt. Charlie squared his shoulders, ready for anything. You know what? I think you need to leave. Now. Before he could finish, Mia tugged at Sarah's sleeve, her voice tiny yet clear. Mom, I'm scared. The moment hit Charlie like a freight train, and all at once, his primal urge to defend kicked into overdrive. He turned back to Sarah, his resolve tightening. I'm not letting them scare you anymore. Then, in a split second, the atmosphere shifted. The men's bravado faltered as they exchanged uncertain glances. For a heartbeat, time froze, and it was as if Charlie's determination had seeped through the air, wrapping around them. But just as quickly as it appeared, their confidence returned, accompanied by mocking laughter. You might want to think twice, buddy. With that, Charlie felt a rush of fear and anger. He could see that Mia's small frame trembling slightly, the weight of worry sinking in. He quickly closed the door slightly, creating a barrier between them and the chaos. While acknowledging Sarah with a subtle nod, he was determined to protect this family, no matter the cost. As he prepared to stand his ground against the looming confrontation, the vibrations of uncertainty pulsed through him. What more was he about to discover about the life that he was so eager to support? And just as yet another knock sounded, this one softer but just as insistent, Mia looked up at Charlie, her innocent curiosity returning. Will you make everything okay? Taking a deep breath, he vowed to himself, he would find a way, even if he didn't know how, because for Mia, he would move mountains. Unbeknownst to him, the next knock held a message that would unravel not just their troubles, but his own hidden struggles. Charlie felt the air shift around him, his heart pounding in a frantic rhythm. The sudden, softer knock at the door felt oddly intimate after the chaos of their earlier confrontation. He glanced back at Sarah, whose face was a mixture of confusion and fear, her eyes pleading. Who else could it be? He whispered, though part of him dreaded the answer. Mia clutched Sarah's leg tighter, clearly sensing the tension mounting in the small room. Mom, can we just go? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper, filled with a child's genuine concern. Please. Sarah's voice faltered, each word a thread that unraveled her courage. She glanced at the door, then back to Charlie, searching for reassurance. With a steadiness he didn't quite feel, Charlie nodded toward the door. I'll get it. A quick choice, perhaps instinctual bravery, but the three of them stood frozen like deer in headlights. He reached for the doorknob again, but a sharp inhale from Sarah made him hesitate. Charlie, wait. But there was no waiting on the outside. The knock came again, more urgently. It felt like a silent ultimatum. With a firm grasp, Charlie yanked the door open, half expecting to meet the same harsh faces. Instead, he was greeted by an older woman, eyes wide with terror, her clothes worn and dirty, but her hands trembling not from fear, but desperation. Please, I need help. I came for Sarah. Confusion rippled through Charlie, squinting at the woman. He could see the resemblance almost immediately, a certain familiarity in the way her face twisted with anxiety. You shouldn't be here. Not now. They're looking for you. I know. She rushed, panic embedding her words. I need to talk to her. It's urgent. Behind him, Charlie felt Sarah's breath hitch as she stepped forward, fear mixing with concern. Mom? She called, a fragile note of hope threaded through her shock. Maya? The woman replied, breaking at the sound of her daughter's voice. Tears filled her eyes, caught between relief and dread. Mia peeked out, still huddled next to her mother. "Is that really you?" she asked, innocent but with a sense of understanding beyond her years. "Mia!" the woman gasped, dropping to her knees, the desperate longing palpable. "My sweet girl, I get away from her." Charlie interjected instinctively, a protective instinct surging within him at the sight of the stranger kneeling before Mia. The woman's hands shot up in surrender, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and desperation. "Please, I swear I'm not here to hurt anyone. I just need to explain. I need to tell you why I left." Charlie felt Sarah's grip tighten on his arm. He turned to her, their eyes locking, and he could feel her turmoil as she processed the unexpected arrival of her past. "What? Why did you leave?" Sarah's voice trembled with suppressed anger and confusion. "I had no choice," Maya pleaded, glancing at Mia with a surge of motherly love etched in her features. "They were going to take her from me." Charlie's protective mantle wavered slightly as he found himself submerged in that singular moment, the tension hanging heavy, a fragile balance between the past and the present. He felt the words clash in the air, and realization dawned on him. There were depths of fear and hurt that couldn't simply be brushed aside. But what could this woman possibly reveal that might change things for the better? As they hovered on the precipice of unfolding truths, another knock, more urgent this time, resounded through the air, echoing Charlie's mounting unease. Who stood beyond that door, ready to reclaim a past shrouded in darkness? And just how deep were the ties that bound them all together? Charlie's heart raced as he struggled between instincts of self-preservation and a desire to uncover the truth. The weight of Maya's plea pressed on him like an anchor, and the urgency of the second knock echoed loud and menacing. There was no denying the tension that filled the room, the uncertainty of what lay beyond the door, who awaited them outside, and what choices had led them to this fragile crossroads. "Sarah," he murmured, trying to gauge her reaction. But she remained locked in a gaze with her mother, caught between hurt and longing. The storm that brewed within her was palpable. Charlie felt it ripple through the air, a silent call for action. "Maya," he said, his voice calmer now, almost interrogative. "What do you mean they were going to take her?" "Who?" Maya's eyes flitted nervously back to the door, as if the very mention of they could summon danger. "I can't explain everything here," she rushed, her voice a whisper laden with urgency. "We need to go somewhere safe, somewhere you can understand. They will hurt you all if they find me." "If they find us, find you?" Charlie shot back defensively, clenching his fists. "You disappeared. You left her and now you just waltz back in here, expecting protection?" "Charlie, please," Sarah interrupted, her voice wavering as she reached out to the woman who had once been her mother. "I need to know. I need to understand why you left, why you didn't come back." Maya's face crumpled, her expression morphing from a fierce level of determination to deep regret. "I didn't have a choice, sweetie. There were things I couldn't tell you before, secrets that could endanger all of us." In that moment, a tremor of trust flickered within Sarah's eyes. "Secrets?" she asked, her voice softer now, almost inviting a deeper connection. Another knock pounded against the door, breaking the fragile silence that seemed to tether them in their shared history. The sound reverberated in Charlie's chest, a relentless reminder that they were not alone. "Whoever is out there might be the people you're afraid of," he said, urgency rising as he shifted his weight, glancing over his shoulder. "Maya, what did you do? Who are you running from?" Maya's gaze fell to the floor, her breath quickening as if the weight of the truth had suddenly become unbearable. "I can't say it all now, but please trust me. I only came back to protect you." A flicker of movement outside the door caught his eye as shadows shifting, followed by the unmistakable sound of footsteps creeping closer. Panic kicked in. There wasn't time for explanations, for soothing words. "Go!" he urged the women. "We have to get out. Now!" "Charlie!" Sarah protested, her fear creeping back in. "What about Mia?" "Mom, I'm scared," Mia cried, her innocent voice quaking with fear. Without thinking, Charlie pulled Sarah toward the window. He could feel panic looming over them, that familiar gnawing dread. "If we don't move now, We could lose everything, he insisted. Maya nodded rapidly, her urgency igniting an explosive energy in the room. I'll make sure no one gets in. Just trust me. I'll find a way. But as the door creaked slightly ajar, revealing the vague silhouette of someone lurking on the other side, Charlie couldn't help but wonder if they could ever trust this woman who had left them once before. And with that final thought hanging in the air, he made a split-second decision that could change their lives forever. How far would they have to run to escape the past and avoid the nightmare closing in? The door swung open, and Charlie's breath hitched as a tall figure stepped inside. The dim light from the hallway illuminated the face of a man with a sharp jawline and an unsettling gaze, a stranger but familiar enough to strike fear into the heart. Charlie, the man said, his voice deep and smooth, layering the air with menace. Where's Maya? Charlie felt Sarah tense beside him. Get away from us, he spat, stepping slightly in front of the two women, his body instinctively forming a shield. Protecting her now, are you? The man chuckled darkly, his eyes narrowing with a chilling intensity. You really have no idea what you're messing with. Maya stepped forward, her movement fortifying Charlie's resolve as she met the man's gaze defiantly. I came back for them. You have no right to threaten my family. Family? The man laughed, but it was devoid of humor. You abandoned them once. You think they trust you now? Before Charlie could react, he felt a firm grip on his shoulder, the tightness warning him that he was outmatched. The man leaned closer, invading Charlie's space with an overwhelming presence. You don't know the risk, do you? The games we play are well beyond you, boy. Maya shook her head, her voice trembling. Please just leave them out of this. It's my fault, not theirs. Mia clutched Sarah's hand, wide-eyed and trembling. Mom, I'm scared, she whispered, her innocence choking on the fear that filled the room like smoke. Suddenly, the man's expression shifted, and he took a step back as if realizing the weight of his own threat. He glanced around, taking in the vulnerability of the small group before him, and a flicker of impatience crossed his face. This isn't over, Maya, he warned. You know where to find me. He turned to leave, shadows spilling behind him as he walked out the door, leaving behind an unsettling silence. Watch your backs, his voice echoed back, lingering like a ghost. You won't be safe much longer. The door clicked shut, and the air rushed back into the room. Charlie whipped around to face Maya. What the hell was that? Maya's face fell, panic emerging in her eyes. You don't understand. He's dangerous. They're dangerous. I thought I could protect you from this, but now Charlie quivered with frustration, letting the emotions flood out. You think this is just about you? We could have been killed. I'm sorry. Maya burst out, tears glistening in her eyes. I didn't know how to come back. It was supposed to be safe. I thought I'd kept you all from this life. Then tell us the truth. Sarah pleaded, her voice thick with despair. What is this life you left us for? There was a beat of silence, an unbreakable barrier drawn across the years. Maya inhaled deeply, as if deciding to unearth buried secrets. I ran from something I couldn't control, a force that wanted me to join them, to betray those I loved. Now they want proof that I'm still loyal, and they'll do anything to get what they want. Charlie noticed how tightly Sarah held Mia, the little girl's curious expression quickly giving way to fear again. Mom, what does that mean? She whispered. It means, Maya's voice trembled, her eyes glassy, that we need to move before they come back. With that, the urgency returned, threading their minds with a shared anxiety. Something dark loomed ahead, and they were walking straight toward it. Charlie faced Sarah, each of them silently grappling with what lay ahead. Do you trust her? He asked, the weight of uncertainty heavy in the air. I want to, Sarah replied, her gaze lingering on Maya, searching for any sign of truth. Then let us go, Charlie urged. They didn't have time to waste. The past was clawing at their heels. But as they turned to leave, another knock echoed, less urgent than before but just as foreboding. Charlie's heart sank, dread pooling in his stomach. What more could come crashing into their lives? They all froze, staring at the door. Who or what awaited them now? The room held its breath. Charlie watched the door, his heart racing. That knock, soft yet insistent, felt like a countdown. He exchanged worried glances with Sarah and Maya, each of them weighing the possibilities of what lay beyond. Should we answer? Sarah's voice was barely above a whisper, laced with tension. Maya stepped back, her eyes darting to the window. We can't. Not from him or from anyone associated with that life. Charlie nodded but knew they couldn't stay holed up forever. We need to see who it is. It might not be him. Taking a deep breath, he approached the door, the wooden surface cool against his palms. He hesitated, heart thumping, but anxiety drove him to turn the handle. As the door creaked open, they were met by a petite woman in her mid-30s, her dark hair cascading in haphazard waves. She wore a worried expression and clasped a clipboard to her chest. I'm sorry to intrude, she said, her voice shaky. I'm your neighbor. I heard shouting. Is everything all right? Charlie's instincts kicked in. We're fine, just a misunderstanding. Maya, relieved but wary, edged closer to Charlie, a silent plea in her eyes. The neighbors studied their faces, searching for honesty. I couldn't help but notice you all seem tense. If it's anything serious, it's nothing we can't handle, Charlie insisted, but he could see that Maya wanted to say more. Please, we're fine, Maya said, her voice steadying. Thank you for checking on us. The woman hesitated, then nodded slowly. Okay, just know I'm here if you need anything. She managed a weak smile before she turned and walked away, oblivious to the darkness that loomed just out of sight. Charlie closed the door and turned back to Maya and Sarah. See? Nothing to worry about. Yet inside, he felt a knot of doubt tightening. Except for him, Maya whispered, glancing back at the door as if expecting it to swing open again. He'll come back. Do we really have to leave? Mia's small voice broke through, making them all turn. The little girl's eyes were wide with confusion, and her fingers trembled as she clung to Sarah. Can't we just stay? Charlie crouched down, meeting her gaze. Maya needs us to do this, sweetie. It's for our safety. Mia bit her lip, heart aching at the thought of leaving the only home she'd ever known. But I don't want to be scared anymore. That struck Charlie hard, an emotional wave crashing over him. He wanted to protect her from all this, to shield her from the harshness that life sometimes served. I know, kid. I promise we'll keep each other safe. We just have to be smart. Maya stepped forward, her voice gentle but firm. You have every right to be scared, Mia. You're brave. But we won't let fear rule us. We will find a way to beat this together. They held on to that promise, but doubt lingered in Charlie's mind. How do you fight against shadows lurking in the corners of your past? The urgency to flee gnawed at him harder with each tick of the clock. What if we go now? He proposed, the idea hanging in the air like a lifeline. It's late. We can be far enough away before anyone notices. I can't just pack up everything I own. Maya's voice trembled, fear cracking through her bravado. Then take what matters, Sarah said softly. We'll figure it out. As uncertainty suffocated them, a sudden noise broke the tension, a metallic clang from outside. They all froze, eyes flying to the window. The streetlights flickered, casting uneasy shadows that sent chills down Charlie's spine. Did you hear that? Mia whispered, as fear settled back into the room. Yes, Charlie replied, his heart racing once more. We have to move now. No more waiting. Maya nodded, the resolve returning to her face. You're right. We're running from this, together? They turned to gather their things. But as they rushed to the bags, the front door creaked again, this time much harsher, and fear thundered through them all anew. What could possibly happen next? What awaited them on the other side of their fleeting safety? In that moment, Charlie realized they might be running headfirst into a far darker night than they ever imagined. They moved like a frantic whirl, tossing essential items into bags. Charlie grabbed his backpack, stuffing in the few belongings he couldn't bear to leave behind. A toothbrush, a change of clothes, an old paperback novel he had read during long, sleepless nights. Maya was at the table, her hands shaking, shoving childhood drawings and some cash into a small backpack. This is what matters, she said, a mix of urgency and sorrow in her voice. Each drawing was a glimpse into a simpler time, a reminder of innocence in a world that felt anything but. Sarah moved quickly to Mia, reassuring her as she helped her gather a few beloved toys. Make sure you take your favorite, she whispered, trying to make the moment light despite the tension. But even Mia, with her small arms laden with stuffed animals, could sense the gravity. The door slammed open, and all three of them flinched. The wind gusted into the room, carrying with it an icy chill that sent shivers down their spines. Charlie! Maya exclaimed, stepping back, fear written all over her face. He turned, already halfway worried that the figure standing in the doorway was who they feared. But it was just a shadow, dust swirling, illuminated by the dim light of the street. Close it, Sarah urged, her eyes wild with fear. Charlie slammed the door, locking it firmly, and their breaths mixed into silence, each heart pounding loudly. We have to go, he said, frustration edging into his voice. Now. They resumed their desperate packing, but Mia looked at him. Are we really going to leave? I'll miss my friends, my school. Not now, sweetie. Charlie placed a hand on her shoulder, but his heart broke as he saw her eyes fill with tears. This is for your safety. You'll understand when you're older. With every passing moment, the urgency escalated. They had only minutes. As Charlie fumbled with the last items, the metallic clang echoed again from outside, closer this time. His instincts screamed at him they had to get out, and quickly. We're leaving now, he declared, forcing himself to sound confident even as fear clawed at him. He showed his strength to the girls, pushing down his own rising panic. They were a family now, bonded by hardship. No matter what shadows loomed outside, they would endure together. He had to believe that. But then came the unmistakable sound of footsteps on the porch. Slow and methodical, each creak of the boards underfoot reverberated, stealing air from the room and making Charlie's stomach drop. What now? Maya whispered, clinging to Mia. Charlie could feel her tension vibrate through the air like a live wire, sharp and heavy. The door trembled, and Charlie's heart pounded. Could it be the neighbor returning to check again? Or something much worse? Stay quiet, he instructed, urgency threading through his words. He crossed the room, pressing his back against the wall beside the door, listening intently. Bang! The door wasn't he just rattled, it shook violently against its frame. What do we do? Sarah's voice trembled, her composure fading, and Charlie could see her fear reflected in Mia's wide, terrified eyes. Through the rattle and whispers of panic, Maya looked at him, visibly collecting her strength. We can't let them in, we have to fight back if it's him. He could feel the weight of the moment settling heavy over all of them. Fight back? He echoed, barely above a whisper. Every second stretched, every heartbeat counting down to an uncertain fate. Desperation kicked in. This was no time for second thoughts. We're not going to let them hurt us, he asserted, his voice steady now, steadier than he felt inside. We'll protect each other. But outside, in the shadows, whatever awaited them loomed large and menacing. They stood at the precipice, ready to face what lay beyond that door, ready to uncover whatever fate awaited them in the dark. Could courage really stand against the unknown? The door shuddered again, the weight of whatever was outside pressing against it, like a tidal wave ready to crash in. Charlie's grip tightened on the doorknob, feeling the smooth, cold metal biting into his palm. He shot a glance back at Maya, whose wide eyes seemed to hold both fear and defiance. He took a deep breath, centering himself. Whatever happens, stay together, he urged. Maya nodded, her resolve sparking in an instant. Sarah pulled Mia close, the gentle squeeze of comfort evident in her embrace. Another bang made the door vibrate. A crack of light illuminated the edges, a sign of the darkness beyond. Charlie's heartbeat quickened, every sound resonating in his chest felt like an echo from a different life, one they had been forced to abandon. Fading memories of laughter, school days, and neighborhood barbecues flashed before him. Charlie! Maya's whisper pulled him back into focus. What if it's him? The thought hung heavy in the air, thickening the tension. He could feel the fear radiating around him, dark, curling up like smoke. It has to be someone checking on us, he reassured her, though doubt lingered in his tone. What if it was a threat? A reckoning? He closed his eyes for a second, blocking out the chaos, forcing himself to remember who he was trying to protect. Come on, we need a plan. Maya stepped forward, straightening her back. The flicker of bravery was infectious. If it's him, we need to think smart, she said, her voice gaining strength. We hide and wait for the right moment. We're not going to let him take this from us. Adjusting his weight, Charlie nodded. Right. We'll let him in. Are you crazy? Sarah's eyes widened, panic surfacing again. We can't just open the door. We're not going to open it fully, Charlie clarified, formulating the idea in his mind. Just a peek. We need to see what we're up against. He felt a bit of fear drain from him, replaced with a surge of determination. The moment we know what's out there, that's when we can react. Charlie moved to the door, pulling it just a crack open. For a moment, he held his breath, the cold air rushing inside, mixing with their rising fear. Through the narrow gap, the dim light revealed a looming dark figure on the porch, just out of reach. Who's there? Charlie called, his voice steady, even as dread crawled up his spine. Open up, Charlie! A voice, familiar yet chilling. It was the very person they had feared, the one that had set this chaos in motion. Frozen in place, they all exchanged looks of turmoil. What should they do? This was no mere neighbor, it was a harbinger of their worst fears. This is a mistake, you have to leave, Charlie insisted, already shielding Maya and Mia with his body, instinctively taking a protective stance. Charlie, it's me. I just want to talk. The voice softened, but deception lingered like a cloud. Maya stepped closer to Charlie, facing him. Her clarity was stark against the swirling shadows of uncertainty. We can't trust him, she whispered, filled with understanding. Tension sliced through them all, the air thick with anticipation and danger. Every fiber of Charlie's being screamed to protect his family, his heart pounding loud enough for everyone to feel it echoing in the silence. What do you want? He challenged, clenching his fists, bracing for any move. Don't be foolish, Charlie. You need me. It hung there, suspended. The promise of safety, or the abyss of betrayal? Charlie's heart raced, battling between instinct and desperation. The door felt like the threshold of two worlds, the known and the unknown. Could he force himself to believe that strength lay beyond the threshold? Just as he prepared to confront this looming figure, the unmistakable sound of sirens began to wail in the distance, growing closer. A flicker of hope ignited amid the dread. But would that hope be enough to save them? Charlie! Maya's urgency snapped him back to the moment. We need to decide now. Facing that door, with the pounding heart of a protector, he drew in a breath, ready to challenge the darkness, ready for whatever storm lurked just beyond, not just for himself, but for them all. What would he choose? Would he let the shadows back in? With the sirens wailing in the distance, Charlie felt something shift within him. It was no longer just about wealth or fear, it was about family, connection, and understanding that strength meant vulnerability. He took a step back, glancing at Sarah, who nodded with fierce determination, and then at Mia, her little hands trembling, resilience glimmering in her tear-filled eyes. Charlie turned back to the door, steadied his breathing, and swallowed hard. What do you want? He shouted again, the urgency in his voice cutting through the haze of anxiety layered thick in the air. I want to help you. The man insisted, but his voice dripped with false sincerity. Each word felt sharp like a dagger. For a moment, Charlie hesitated. This was the voice of a man who thrived on fear, who'd wrapped a life of lies within manipulation. But behind him stood a reality that felt more genuine, the fragile breaths of Mia and the unwavering strength of Sarah at his side. Help? Charlie challenged, a fire igniting in his chest. You raped our peace and thought you could just waltz in here to take more from us? No! Suddenly, against this heavy backdrop, the sirens blared louder, slicing through the tension, a promise of salvation, of clarity. The looming figure outside shifted, unease cracking the confidence in his demeanor. Charlie, Maya whispered, inching toward him, steady and resolute. We have to make the right choice. This is our moment. Let us put this behind us. Then, almost as if summoned by their collective resolve, the door rattled a bit more, but Charlie held firm against it, determined to guard those behind him, to protect Mia's innocence and Sarah's love. Whoever you are, he declared, we're done with your games. This ends now. The growing urgency in his voice matched the pounding of his heart, and for the first time in a long time, he felt alive. A surge of clarity washed over him. The past would not dictate their future. Grow up, Charlie! Shouted the man outside. You're playing a dangerous game. Just let me in. Charlie leaned in closer, feeling the weight of the moment press against him. No. We're breaking this cycle. We won't be scared anymore. I will not let you hurt my family. His family. The words resonated deep within him, igniting something he hadn't felt in ages, the exhilarating weight of responsibility mixed with love. Behind him, Sarah took a bold step forward, her presence like a shield. You need to leave. We won't forget what you did, and we won't be silent. You're nothing but a shadow of our past. The man outside hesitated, his bravado flickering like a candle in the wind. The sirens drew closer, a promise of safety and justice within reach. Charlie locked eyes with Maya and Sarah, a silent agreement forming among them. They would face this together, no matter what. United in love and determination, they would not let fear bind them anymore. Believe me, this isn't over, the man hissed before retreating back into darkness, the tension slowly easing. With each passing moment, the echoes of his threat dissipated into the night. They stood in silence, the air thick with unresolved fear but also hope. Mia's small voice broke the stillness. Are we safe now? Her eyes looked up to Charlie, reflecting innocence amid the chaos. Yeah, kiddo, he assured, bending down to her level. We're safe. For now. As the distant wail of sirens filled the air with hopeful echoes, Charlie felt the weight on his heart lift. They had fought back against darkness, and their light still shone bright. Together, they could start anew, casting shadows away. Maya and Sarah exchanged a look, a breath of understanding swirling between them, bridging chasms of the past with the tender tendrils of the future. They weren't just hiding anymore, they were rebirthing hope in the light. In that moment, Charlie knew they were more than survivors. They were fighters, creators, and dreamers grasping for the light. They would find a way through, not alone, but standing united as family. As this chapter closed and the night dawned glowing around them, Charlie felt the warmth of connected hearts, of family standing as one. Now is your time to take action. You need to subscribe now to never miss the next incredible story. This is the moment to show your support, so leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread the love. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us make sure we continue to inspire and uplift each other. Comment immediately with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your voice matters.